Our second double bill film was was Trainspotting. T2 Trainspotting, I should say, which is still a title I can't really get my head around.
No.
Any ideas?
Trainspotting 2, isn't it? Any ideas?
What that title is? I
No.
don't know if it's referencing Terminator 2. Is that what's called T2? I don't know.
I think they're just trying to not sound like every other sequel and call it Trainspotting 2. But everyone's going to call it Trainspotting 2, so I don't see the point.
True. We need to soundproof this window.
Yeah.
Just turn every room into a studio. Whenever we feel like recording, we can just do it. So yeah, we saw do Trainspotting. Now this is a film that's been 20 years in the waiting, and you as a 15-year-old, when Trainspotting came out for the first time,
I loved it.
and me being a 10-year-old, I didn't really know much about it, but I saw it once I was old enough to understand it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the Trainspotting generation. Obviously, I wasn't old enough to see it in the cinema, but I saw it like the first time it was on TV.
Did you have the poster?
I had the Choose Life, Choose a Job, Choose a Fucking Big Television, that one.
Did you have the soundtrack?
I didn't have the soundtrack originally. I bought it a few years ago. So I do now have the soundtrack. But I loved Born Slippy is just one of my favourite things in the world. But I did have the... who was it? Somebody released a dance track that wasn't... It's not part of the soundtrack, but it sampled Ewan McGregor doing the Choose Life, Choose a Job. I had the I've still got it somewhere, the single of that.
Can you remember the whole speech?
No.
I was going to get you to wile it off.
No.
Well, that's the end of the podcast. Thanks, everyone.
I probably could have at 15, 16 years old, but I couldn't do it now.
I like the new one.
I did like
There was
the
a
new
new one in Trainspotting 2. Bit more relevant to today's times.
Yeah, I really like that they kind of updated it and he went on a bit of a rant and it just all came out.
It's beautiful. So T2 Trainspotting, what do you think?
I was concerned when they first announced the sequel because sequels are never as good as the originals. And
Turned out to Godfather 2. Terminator 2. Toy Story 2.
Okay, sequel...
Free Willy 2.
Free Willy.
Free Willy's awesome.
Sequels are often disappointing, particularly when you've loved the original in the way that I loved Trainspotting. I still love Trainspotting. I don't think we have that because talking about our DVD collection. I'm not sure we have Trainspotting.
You haven't got Trainspotting?
I had it on VHS
Wow.
because I'm old.
Well, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, no, it's not on Netflix. It's on one of them.
It will be somewhere. So, yeah, I was really excited that it was happening, and I thought it's really great that it is 20 years on, and that it's meant to be 20 years on, and that's that's where we're picking up the story. But yeah, there were little alarm bells in my head, but actually it was just like kind of seeing an old friend. And you just slip straight back into that world, and kind of catching up with them after 20 years. And yeah, I loved it.
Good, I did too. I really enjoyed it. It took a while for me to go, okay, this is a good film. I think there was so much kind of expectation on this film that it was never going to live up to the first one, and I don't think it does. But
I don't think it needs to, though.
But there's still so much about it that is enjoyable. But there's so much about it that I think is so reliant on your knowledge of the first one. And it's going on its sake to appeal to the very same audience. It doesn't seem to be trying too hard to appeal to a new audience.
No, but I that I don't think that's a problem because the original has been
You
out.
don't think it's a problem?
I don't think it's a problem.
I don't think you should have to see one film to understand another.
Says the person who's not sure about me seeing Logan because I haven't
Yeah, but
seen
it's
the
part
other
of a
Wolverine.
massive universe.
Well, this is the same people, the same lives 20 years on. Of course, you need to know what happened.
There are no
to
X-Men
them.
in Trainspotting.
No, but you need to know what
Okay.
happened to them in the
No.
first one to know where their lives are 20 years on.
Mm.
That's kind of the point. You're revisiting their stories, revisiting their lives. And the first one has been out for 20 years. If you haven't seen it by now, it's not like you haven't had plenty of opportunity, is it? And chances are, if you haven't seen it, the adverts for this one probably wouldn't have appealed to you anyway. And if they did, then you're going to want to check out the first one before you see it, in the same way you want me to watch other X-Men films before I see Logan.
Yeah, I might avoid that. I don't think they're not very good.
See, at least
That's the
if
issue.
if you're intrigued by Trainspotting, if you watch the first one, it is a damn good film.
Mm.
I don't see. I mean, you can't pick up Lord of the Rings in Part 3 without having seen 1 and 2, can you?
I think Lord of the Rings is it's a third part of a single story.
But
Trainspotting 2 is a second story with the same characters.
But it's still following their lives. So you should have to follow the life. You have to have seen the initial introduction to their lives, don't you?
Not much has changed for any of them, really. None of them really sort of grew up and moved on. We thought that oh bloody hell, Mark,
Yeah.
Ian McGregor's character,
Renton did, but
had moved on, but it
all went, yeah.
he turns out he hadn't so much in the end.
Well, he had, but it all went pear-shaped and he was coming back.
Mm. I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed it. As a standalone film, it was great. Really great. The performances with Robert Carlyle, again, was just amazing. Bloody frightening.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting seeing him interviewed on Graham Norton and saying the fact that he actually took himself away from his family while he was doing that, so he didn't have to slip. He could stay in kind of Begbie's world, and he didn't want to inflict that on his kids, and so, which is fair enough because he is terrifying.
Yeah.
And it must be quite emotionally draining to encompass that.
Begbie's not a nice guy.
He's not.
No, he's a very bad man. And he hasn't changed. He's probably worse now than he was. Because he's out for revenge.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really expect his character to change very much because he's been in prison for the last 20 years.
Yes. Yeah, he wasn't happy. Wasn't a happy man. I thought it was clever how he escaped prison. I thought it was quite cool. It was a nice... right stab, not too deep. Not too deep, and he just went all the way through. That was great. There was some...
This is so typically Trainspotting as well.
Mm.
The best laid plans just go a bit wrong.
It was great. I think actually all the performances was great. I can't imagine watching... They may have had to watch Trainspotting again a few times to get back into those characters. I think 20 years apart.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor was worried he wasn't Scottish enough anymore, wasn't he?
Yeah. He's a Jedi now. That's a problem. Yeah. He's been a Jedi for a while, I suppose. I thought Ewan Bremner was brilliant again.
Yes.
His performance is great. His character is... You just want to give him a hug, don't you?
Yeah, I adore him. And it always amazes me how different he seems to physically become the character. He looks different.
Yeah. Yeah.
His eyes become like 6 times bigger.
I don't know how he does that. Don't know how he does that. That scene when Franco visits him at his house. And throughout the whole time, you obviously can't see what I'm doing, but he's like the whole time. His eyes are wide, and
it's just a typical Spud facial expression. If you've seen the first one, you know that kind of. It's just a beautiful innocence about Spud, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. He just wants everyone to get along, doesn't he?
Yeah, and
he wants to.
That's one of the things I really loved about this, and again, massive spoilers. But the fact that it kind of works out for him in a Spud kind of way.
Yeah, yeah. He was happy at least.
Yeah.
Even if he isn't really happy. You know, it was a selfless act, I think, is what he did.
But it's what made him happy. Because the other option, he's been there, he's done that, and it didn't work out for him. He knew that was the wrong thing for him.
Johnny Lee Miller was good again.
I mean, you can't fault any of the main cast, can you? They are just a beautiful combination together.
Johnny Lee Miller's accent just dropped out in and out. Which I thought was quite funny. I mean, I suppose it's been a long time since he's had to play a Scottish person. But,
yeah, it didn't bother me though.
You watch him in any other film and he's so English. He sounds like Prince William, you know. And it's like when he's in Trainspotting, his English, his posh English is there. You can just hear it just a little bit, and it was quite funny actually. I thought, for me anyway, I enjoyed it. It was a good moment.
Yeah. One thing that we have talked about prior to doing this cast was the use of flashbacks in it.
Yeah. Took up at least 45 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying about how you think that needing to see the first film to get the second one is a bad thing. I don't think that is. But although to start with, I really enjoyed the nostalgia of the flashbacks and taking you back to the first film, and particularly the way, I think it's the first one, might be the second, I'm not sure, is done, where you've got Spud in the street and he's kind of remembering them running down the street, and you see the young Renton like whizzing past him with the footage from the original film. And I thought that was really nicely done. That it was kind of a memory of him being standing there and remembering that happening.
Yeah, I like that.
But then it did get a little bit. I mean, I got the references, the things that they talked about, needed to be there because they were part of. I mean, you do, if you've known somebody for 20 years, you do talk about things that happened in the past, and things do get dredged back up, and that all made sense. But there were a few too many flashes back to the original footage for the sake of it looking pretty, I think.
Definitely was. I mean, the whole film was shot beautifully. Again,
Yes.
But Danny Boyle's a master. You know, he should be up there now in the pantheon of great directors.
But that's why part of the reason that this film, although it's great, is never going to be as good as the original, was because all of that stuff in the first one was really groundbreaking. I mean, a lot of the footage is really shocking and harrowing because of the way it's filmed, because of the effects that are used. But they've been done now.
Yeah.
And the sequel had to be filmed in the same way to make it feel like Trainspotting, and it is, and it's still beautiful and it's still harrowing in places, but it's not going to have that same shock factor as that. I mean, like the initial, in the original film where Mark is going cold turkey and he's hallucinating and the baby's on the ceiling and all that.
That's dark.
It's but it was very groundbreaking for its time.
Yeah.
To see that kind of thing and for it to be this hallucination to be so real, and for the walls to be stretching and things like that, that they were never going to have quite the same impact this time round because it's been done.
Sure, I think that's why Danny Boyle almost sort of took it to another level again. That one scene when they're in the car talking about George Best, and the projection of George Best appears on the car.
Yes.
I was like, that's amazing.
That was amazing.
It's classic Danny Boyle. Like, if you think about where the location of the camera is, it's not on the side, it's not in front of it, it's just kind of like on the corner of the car, sort of looking up at it, like in like the bottom left of the I don't even know how to explain it where it was, but it was, I've never seen anything like that, and it was beautiful. The lighting of that scene was amazing as well.
But I think you hit the nail on the head there, that you described it as classic Danny Boyle.
Mm.
Whereas at the time that the first film came out, it was, oh my god, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And it gives you a different reaction. You kind of expect the unexpected from him now.
But you've seen it since. You've seen it in like Sunshine and 127 Hours, really gritty camera work. Slumdog Millionaire,
Yes.
especially in certain scenes, like the slum scenes. You know, it's very dark, but the light is just focused on character, and it's something that only Danny Boyle can pull off. A lot of directors try it, but only he can do it really, really well. Can we talk about that cubicle scene?
Yeah.
Because I think that was the highlight of the whole damn thing.
That was wonderful. I'll let you wax lyrical about that.
Oh man. Mark Renton is in a cubicle in the men's bathroom, and Franco is in the next one, unbeknownst to each other that they're in the same room, and Franco's kind of after Renton after the ending of Trainspotting and their exploits.
And Renton at this point isn't even aware that he's escaped from prison.
Yes. And they have a discussion between the cubicle wall, again, unbeknownst to each other that they're talking to each other. And then the camera sort of pulls back and we see Renton and we see Franco in the scene next to each other. And probably one of the most wonderful things I may have ever seen in British cinema is they're just sat there. And then it takes about 45 seconds. But in that whole time, the sudden moment of realisation, how it slowly evolved between the two of them, it was just and wonderful.
Just the different reactions and the changes in body language, and it's just so, I mean, they don't say a word, but it's so beautifully acted.
It's just wonderful because obviously they're so confined, but the sheer amount that they did by doing very little.
Yes.
It's just unbelievable.
You know exactly what's going through both of their minds. And you feel you're laughing because it's just playing out wonderfully in front of you. But at the same time, you're feeling in your gut that fear for Mark because there is no escape. And you know there's no escape for him. And just that, what it makes you feel in just a short space of time with no dialogue is quite incredible, really.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I keep playing it in my head. I'm doing it right now. Yeah. It's just beautifully shot. And it's so dark as well. It's almost like there's neon purple that kind of lights the whole thing. Oh man, it's so good. It's so good.
It's timed so beautifully as well with each other.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like the same realisation comes across their mind at exactly the same time. And their reactions unfold at the same time with each other. And it's just, it's just beautifully done.
It's a work of art. If I could have that scene on a wall, just replaying over and over again, I think I would. It was tremendous. And, it's just great. It's great. Anything you didn't love as much?
Only really the flashbacks got a little bit too much. I mean, that's a really, really minor thing as well, because I guess the whole thing was just taking you right back into that world, into those characters, and you were in that world for the whole time. And it was just like revisiting somebody I'd known as a teenager, sort of thing.
Yeah, the use of women in this film was a bit odd. I think there's only 3 that I can remember. and one of them is a prostitute. The other one doesn't talk very much, and the only other one is the lawyer, which was the girl from the first one. I can't remember the name of.
No, I can't off the top of my head now.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I think everyone will
Yeah.
know who you mean.
It's like, oh, it's her. Oh, she's gone.
Yeah, I mean that was just a nice little reference. I don't think it was an intentional kind of slight on women or leaving them out, because I mean the first one was about the men and their friendships, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
There were women around them, but it was mostly about them.
Yeah.
And it was those characters that we were revisiting, those four. So it just made sense for it to be focused on them. And let's face it, none of them are the kind of people that you would really expect to hold down a relationship.
That's true.
So not a healthy one in any case.
Yeah. There was Franco's wife, girlfriend as well.
Wife, yeah. But she doesn't say much, and you'd expect her not to say much because she'd be terrified of Franco.
Yeah. Yeah. Although Franco did almost grow a conscience by the end of the film.
It wasn't so much growing a conscience. I mean, he was still Franco. He was still pure evil.
Mm.
But it was nice that he could kind of reconcile things with his family. Or at least agree to disagree.
Yeah.
On the directions that life should go in.
Yeah, it was great. I need to see it again. I want to see more of it. I want to see T3.
Well, that's a good sign.
In another 20 years. And then I can watch T2 again whilst watching T3. That seems to be the role that they're playing, yeah.
Oh, see, now you get into, like, Back to the Future 2, where there's two of them running around.
Mm.
You'd have flashbacks with flashbacks, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm not sure if Franco can escape again. We'll see.
I can't imagine that realistically Spud would live for another 20 years.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, any of them really. There's a great scene in the social club with the Catholic song. It's the 2 chord Kill the Catholic song.
That's the kind of thing that although I watched the first one, I haven't seen it for a while. I haven't seen it for a good few years actually.
You don't need to. You saw it in Trainspotting too.
But no, what you remember about the first one, what sticks with you is the harrowing stuff, the really hard hitting, emotional stuff. But you forget the bonkers situations that they get themselves into, like that, where they end up on stage making up a song, and the real humour and the funny side of it as well, which is kind of a look at real life, and you do end up doing.
It was shot really nicely as well.
Some strange things.
Yeah. It looks like they put a GoPro on top of the microphone, and Ian McGregor just swung it back and forth. It was it was really nicely shot, that one. It was weird. I don't want to go to a Protestant social club. They look quite scary.
It did indeed.
I think I'll avoid that.
I think that whole situation as well really pointed, and you get kind of hints at this throughout both movies, how intelligent, it might be completely misplaced and misused, but how intelligent Renton really is to come up with a scheme like that one. And yeah, some of the other situations throughout both movies, you know, how different his life could have been had it not gone down the road that it did.
Can we talk about the ending of Trainspotting? Because it predates, it is the catalyst of the whole film.
Sure.
Do you think Renton was right to do what he did at the end of Trainspotting? This is an audio podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking, I wasn't expecting you to spring such a deep question on me. I'd never watched it and kind of felt sorry for any of the characters that he ripped off at all. He looks out for himself because he knows that's what any of them would do. He accepts Spud and he sees Spud right. It's interesting to revisit kind of 20 years later and realise actually that's probably the worst thing he could have done for Spud, because you finish the first film thinking, you know, that's really lovely that he's given him his share, even if he's ripped off the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
But by just giving it to him and leaving, and not actually supporting Spud in using that money for good things, he's probably made his life worse, not better.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never... I mean, do you feel sorry for any of the other guys that he rips off?
It's hard to root for any of them sometimes.
Exactly.
They're not... No... I mean, Renton's probably the only one that has some kind of moral code in a weird Trainspotting kind of way. But all four of them deserve what they get. Really. There's no characters you can root for between the four of them.
Spud.
I don't think except for Spud. Bless him. But they all do bad things.
Yes.
And it's evident in T2 that they haven't really learned anything in 20 years. Well, I think, which is, I guess, is the point of the whole film. You know, there's still that madness between them all. There's still that kind of energy that nothing's really worked out for any of them.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see as well how, you know, Mark does at the end of the last film and in the gap between kind of turn his life around. And okay, his marriage hasn't worked out, but that happens to a lot of people that don't have Mark's background.
Mm.
And he has got himself, maybe not like massively highly qualified, but he has gone out and got qualifications and got a job. And okay, so it's not going that well for him, but had he just come home and not seen any of his old friends, he probably would have got a job in this country, started again, you know, spent some more time with his dad. But how easily it is to be kind of pulled back into that life by being around the wrong people.
Mm.
That he'd got out, he'd spent 20 years away from it all, and just seeing one or two people, he sucked right back into it. I clearly lay less blame on Mark than you do.
Well, I don't know. I never really liked the ending to Trainspotting because I was rooting for all of them. But I was only like 14 when I saw it, so I was like, yeah, they should all get there. They're all winners. I can't remember. I don't remember seeing it as an adult recently. It's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a long time since I've seen it. Even though it's been on TV a million times, I've always missed it.
Thing is, I mean, Begbie needs to be in jail. There's no question about that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Begbie's a bad man.
Spud gets his money anyway.
Yeah.
So...
I don't know, it's difficult, isn't it?
I think it's because the first film more so actually than this one.
It's like loving villains. It's like loving Darth Vader and loving Kylo Ren and loving Loki, you know.
The first one, though, is very much from Renton's point of view.
Mm.
This one less so. But you're kind of programmed to root for Renton, I think. Maybe it's just because I'm a Ewan McGregor fan, I don't know. But there's something that kind of tells it from, because it's told from his side and it's very much his voice that's narrating it.
Yeah.
You can see that, you know, he is intelligent. He has got the capacity to get out into the real world and get away from this all and actually make something of his life, whereas probably more so than any of the others. And that's kind of why you think, well, actually, if he's got the money, he's going to do something sensible with it. He's actually going to turn his life around, and he did for 20 years. And he says to, when he's trying to help Spud, kind of channel his addiction, to, accept that he's an addict, and just to be addicted to something else.
Yeah.
He actually says, well, Spud asks him, well, what did you do? What was your addiction? He said, getting away. He channeled it all into getting away from that life and making a different life for himself.
Yeah. It's a great scene when Renton and Spud actually meet up again. And Mark can see him through the door.
Yeah, it's a typically disgusting...
It's a very, very Trainspotting scene.
Trainspotting scene.
Completely gross, but ultimately rewarding in its own kind of way. In its way. Yeah, maybe Renton's an angel as well, because Bub would have died otherwise. Like Charlie in Casualty.
Ross has a theory that Charlie in Casualty isn't real.
He's not real.
He's just an angel, and he appears just an angel. You know what I mean? Because he always appears if somebody needs help.
Yeah.
Lurking in the background.
He's in every scene
It's Charlie.
when someone needs help.
So yeah, Casualty will eventually end, and Charlie will just disappear in a puff of light up to heaven.
Yep.
Like, what was it called? Stairway to Heaven? Or what that awful American program was?
Any angel movie or TV show.
Touched by an Angel.
Yeah.
God.
City of Angels. Oh, what was that? What was that John Travolta angel film?
I know the one you mean. I can't think what it's called.
Oh, what was it called? It's the one with Iris as its soundtrack.
Ask Google.
I will. I don't know why this is important, but I have to know now.
Ask Google.
No.
Physically ask. Go say, okay, Google.
John Travolta, Angel. Michael. Was it Michael?
Michael.
Michael. Yes, it was.
Yes, that's it.
The film stars John Travolta as Archangel Michael was sent to Earth to do various tasks, including mending some wounded hearts.
It's the same plot as Touched by an Angel and Stairway to Heaven and every other awful thing about angels.
4.5 out of 5 on Amazon, 36% on Rotten Tomatoes. Seems to be doing better with the fans rather than... Oh, that's like the most 90s poster.
Yes, it is.
Andy McDowell, Bob Hoskins. Yeah, that's very 90s. Brilliant. Love it. So, you were happy with T2 Trainspotting?
I was, yes.
Were you delighted with it?
Yes. Any fears I had that it wasn't going to be a good sequel have completely gone. I really enjoyed it, and I would happily watch it again and again in the same way I watched the first one. In fact, I'd quite like to watch them back to back now.
So we're gonna have to make some more Blu-ray space for T2,
See,
for Trainspotting, and for the Lego Batman.
I'm still not sold on the whole Blu-ray thing. But that's a whole other discussion.
Well, what would you prefer?
I don't really see the difference between having a Blu-ray and having a DVD.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't know, would you? I can tell the difference.
I know you can tell the difference, but you'll still happily sit and watch DVDs. So
I will, but if I have the option, I'd rather watch it in a higher definition. What's the point of having a Blu-ray player and a super sexy TV?
yeah. Anyway, we'll buy a recording of it at some point.
And also,
on
I like
some
the
kind of format.
Also, they don't put extras on DVDs anymore. They all go on Blu-rays. And I like extras.
You do like the extras, I'll give you that.
I
always like the idea of them and never watch them.
like blooper reels and commentaries.
I know.
There's a great... well, I don't know. I know. I think someone must have had Trainspotting on DVD. I don't know who it was. But yeah, the DVD commentary was Danny Boyle, Robert Carlyle, Ian McGregor, John Lee Miller. Probably quite fascinating to listen to, I'd imagine. I haven't done so yet. But you could probably get Trainspotting quite cheap in CEX if you looked hard enough.
I probably could. It would probably be a good idea to go through that bag and box of DVDs that are over there just to make sure I haven't already done that and picked it up, because I do tend to pick up things like that as I see them cheaply on DVD, which is why we have so many DVDs.
I like having animated stuff on Blu-ray because animated stuff pops out and looks amazing in that format, like the Pixar stuff.
Okay.
And something like the Lego Batman movie is going to look amazing.
We have the Lego movie on Blu-ray.
We certainly do, because it looks incredible in Blu-ray.
We don't have a massive amount of animated stuff.
No, we need more. There's a lot of it on Netflix, so I kind of refrained from buying it. A lot of Pixar stuff on Netflix that looks great. So, okay.
Disney and Pixar's always so expensive to buy as well.
Yeah, that's true. They do the odd buy and get one free deals every now and then.
Yeah.
Which are very awesome. Well, we can drop it there if you like. We can drop it like it's hot.
Okay, I would say go and watch both films.
Yes, take different people, I think.
Bit weird to see them both in the same day. But
Don't take your kids to see Trainspotting 2.
No.
No.
No. Definitely not.
I'm actually amazed.
I'm also not condoning 15-year-olds watching Trainspotting 1. Just because I was 15 when it came out. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that.
I'm actually amazed Lego Batman got you. Because there was a lot of very, very subtle things in there. That
there was nothing...
were...
subtle is the word, though. There was nothing that was kind of... that a young kid would pick up on and repeat that you don't want them to say, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or anything that would make them ask awkward questions.
Yeah. Well, it's the Shrek level, the Shrek laws. Because Shrek is full of innuendo and adult-only jokes.
Yeah, but they're...
And that's a you.
They're subtle enough for kids not to notice them. It's when they actually pick up on them. I mean...
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something? I was like, ah! Now I'm an adult. I've got that joke, finally.
What, you're an adult?
Apparently. Some people tell me.
Nah.
It's a frightening thought, I know. But there we go.
Putting that one off.
Okay. Well, Jackie, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been fun.
On this Micstand special episode is not numbered. It's just a recap on films that we've seen.
Yeah.
I think next up is we want to see Split.
Yes.
Do you want to see that?
Do want to see Split.
Avoiding spoilers like a mofo right now because they're all over the place.
I've done quite well at just avoiding that film.
Yeah, so much so that we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
that's how well you're avoiding it.
That's not me avoiding it. We were going to see Split and Trainspotting 2 in the same day. Now that would have been one hell of a double bill. But then we found out that they were showing Batman early, and somebody wanted to see Batman a lot more than they wanted to see Split.
Damn right.
And I didn't take much convincing. So
no, but
so
yeah.
Split got relegated.
Split and Logan, obviously, it's out in March. Should be amazing.
Split's going to be finished in the cinema, though, before Logan comes out. So.
Yeah, we haven't got long, and I think we're Split anymore. There's only 2 showings in our local review a day now, so...
Going to go and end up watching it in the Park and Deirdre Yorkie, aren't we?
Oh, no. No, we're going to watch it at The View at some point.
Okay.
And then Logan, and then... I don't know what's coming out. What's coming out in March? But April, it's Guardians. Yay! And so, yeah, it's all that to come. And I'm sure we'll sit here and add some more episodes to Micstand after we see these films as well. So, thank you very much for listening. Give us a like on YouTube if you're listening to us on YouTube. If you're listening to us on iTunes, give us a rating and a review. The algorithm on iTunes is all about rates and reviews, and every little helps. So that would be very, very nice of you. Thank you very much indeed. And if you're listening on Mixcloud, then hi. Give us a follow. You can follow us on Twitter at MikeStandFilm, and you can follow Jackie at Jackie_Onions. JACQUI_Onions. Onions like the vegetable.
Yes, and that really is my name.
It's it's funny, isn't it?
That's not a Twitter handle, that's my name.
Yeah, it's true. Awkward.
Well,
Thank you very much, everyone. Until next time. Bye.